Hi, I'm back. Um, just for our peace of mind and sanity, we wanted to say today is Tuesday, um, October 8th, 2013. It's roughly about 10:53 a.m. Um, there's a couple people in here who are going, "Oh my God, Supernatural starts today," but we're not here to talk about Supernatural, so we're gonna tell them to just go away for a little bit. And first off, I'll start off by saying, hi, I'm Dusty. I'm 16. I'm a guy, and I've been one of the main fronters for a little while now. And this video is mostly for terminology that our system uses um, when trying to talk about, being multiple. And right there, that's a big thing. We really prefer to consider ourselves multiple rather than having DID. I mean, it's a personal decision. Everybody feels comfortable, you know, with whatever label or whatever they want to put on it. And we just feel more comfortable with the phrase multiple. It fits us better. And um, Um, basically, a multiple is someone who has a lot of different people sharing one body, which, let me tell you, can get pretty hairy. Um, in opposition to that phrase is one that we picked up, and I'm not really sure where we picked up, but it's singleton, and that refers to someone who is not multiple. Um, It's just a way to differentiate between, you know, people who have other people in living, with them and people who don't. I think we might have picked it up on one of the message forums online, but that's those are two big phrases right there. Fronting. You will often hear us talking about fronting. What fronting means is that um, it's the person who is actually in the body interacting with the outside world. Um, they're 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 the ones that are physically present, and it for us, who fronts changes pretty periodically. We don't have one main fronter like we once used to. Um, a long time back, we had one main fronter. We called her Main Renee, and I only mention her now because you'll probably hear us bring her up a lot. She's the one who went through most of the therapy and the hospitalizations and learning about, all of us and, the system and how things were set up and stuff. And she's the one who went through the denial and the, oh, this couldn't possibly be real, and the back and forth, and, so and so. She has not fronted since an incident in 2005, and that's when the rest of us decided, well, I guess we need to figure something out. So now we don't really have a main fronter. We just have um, groups that will rotate in and out. Um, Generally, when we talk about people in the system, we'll either just call them people or we'll people refer to them as system mates. We prefer that term to alter. Personally, for us, we just don't like the word alter. I know that some people do use it, and that's cool. It works for them. We prefer system mates, because that's basically what we are. We're all in the whole same system and trying to live together and everything. So another common phrase or concept would be the inner world or internal realms, or just inside, as we call it. And that's where people are when they're not fronting, like out in the body, like. And we have a very extensive internal landscape. It's the only way we can keep track of things is to break them down into pieces, but we have a really large internal landscape, and oftentimes when people are not up here fronting or hanging out in the front room, watching what's going on, they're doing their own thing wherever they are, and just hanging out or whatever. Switching. That's pretty much when, like, if someone else other than me, as Dusty, if someone else decides to come out, that's a switch. It basically means that, a different person is now out and in the body and interacting with the outside world. It's pretty simple concept, we would think, but I don't know, I guess some people have trouble dealing with it. It's really easy. I mean, it's just, it's not, okay, not everyone, not every DID system can switch really easily. We can, to a degree. Not every DID system can control their switching. We can to a degree. Sometimes, a trigger will happen and somebody will pop out and, be freaked out, and we'll have to try and talk them in, calm them down. Or sometimes, like, our system kids might see something they like and they'll pop out for a minute and, be giggly and fun for a few minutes, and then they'll go back in. And it's pretty much always been like that for us. We don't really know any other way to actually, I mean, it's harder to switch with some people who are like farther back or deeper in the system, and sometimes that can leave us exhausted or with a headache, disoriented if it's someone who hasn't been around for a while. But if we're actually, in the front room, most of us who are in the front room can switch pretty easily, and it's not usually noticeable unless, it's somebody with a really noticeable accent or a very specific personality quirk or something like that. Co-consciousness. Yes. Co-consciousness is when, well, for us, it's like, okay, everybody who's in the front room right now is kind of paying attention to what's going on out here. So I'm not the only person who's aware that, I'm recording and, sitting in front of the computer. There's like 4 or 5 or 6 other people hanging out, watching what I'm doing, and so they're aware of the time that's passing, they're aware of what's going on. Um, so there's no memory gaps, no lost time between any of us that are currently in the front room, even if like I were to switch and say random, or you know who else is here, Riddle, Rebellion, if one of them came out, there wouldn't really be like a memory gap because we're all pretty much aware of what's going on right now at the same time. Not all of us are co-conscious with everybody. We do still have periods of lost time when certain people are out. There are some people who are better at blocking us than other people are, and there are some people that are just not as familiar with the rest of us, so they're not as aware. Another term that I haven't seen used in a while, but we've actually experienced, is co-fronting. And that's when there are actually two people fronting in the body at one time. And sometimes those two people aren't even aware that they're both out at the same time, which is pretty wild. But not only have we experienced it, we've actually seen it in action, and it's very interesting. Um, it's kind of it doesn't happen quite as much now, especially since we have the front room complex so expanded, so people don't feel the need to just be like pressed up against the glass, right, breathing over my shoulder, and they can kind of still see what's going on and everything from a way back. So you know that's I guess co-fronting is kind of like co-piloting, you know or like random's my wingman. She's helping me out. Yes, the term host, we do not use that term. Most systems, whenever they use that term, they're referring to the main person who fronts on a daily basis, or um, it can be used for another word for the core. Um, for some systems, they have a core or original personality from like before all of the splits. For our system, as far as we're aware, we do not have an original, and if we do have a core, we don't know about it. Um, so, we just don't use the words host or core because they don't relate to us right now. Another phrase that's commonly used is gatekeeper. Usually, from what we're to understand, the way the term is used is a gatekeeper is like the person who controls the system. They control the switching and, who's out when and how the system works and stuff like that. And, which is kind of weird when we found that out because we have a gatekeeper, but he isn't over the entire system. He's for a specific section of the system. And as far as having somebody who overall knows the whole system. Um, if there is like a main person who controls how the system works, we don't know who it is. We know that there are two people who are considered outside of the collectives but still part of the system. Dreamseeker, um, she says that she pretty much knows our entire history. She also tends to be very standoffish, and she is mostly observant. She observes things, and she generally doesn't get involved unless she feels we're really, really steering very far off course. And the other one, who knows pretty much everything about our system, all the parts of it, he goes by Death. Um, he's he's hard to describe. Um, he told us that he holds every scream, every cry, every sound, every feeling that we were forced to hide, repress, not show, whatever, that he holds all of that. And I gotta tell you, if he holds all that and he can still have a rational conversation, I'm impressed. Just saying. Okay, moving on. Another common term is protector. Um, we really don't like the idea of people having roles. Um, I don't know why. We've never really liked it. But we do definitely have people who consider themselves protectors. Um, Protectors are generally people in a system who, exist to protect the more vulnerable members of the system. Um, because our system is so large and broken down into so many different groups, there are various levels of protectors, and there are various kinds of protectors. There are some protectors that will, you know, come out and want to kick ass. We've got the fighters. We've got some protectors who just, it's their job to stand in front of whoever they are, you know, protect who they're protecting. Like, we have, especially among our system kids, we have a lot of pairs of kids. Usually there's like a 2-year gap, and the older one is the protector of the younger one. And it's their job to kind of shelter them. And so that's how they do that. Let's see. Sorry, looking down and you can't see my face. A phrase that's used a lot in the DID community to describe system kids, usually from 0 to about 12, is littles. We have never, ever, ever liked that term. And our system kids have never liked that term. So we just call them our kids, our system kids. We specify system kids because we also have outside kids. So we have to sometimes differentiate between, if we're talking about, kids in the collective Dreamscape system or the children of collective Dreamscapes. And that's that's what we do. I know other people use the term a lot, and that's cool. We just don't. Um, Two more things to try and explain, and then I'm going to take a break. One is age sliders. Age sliders are people in a system who are not consistently at one age. Like Jackie Lynn, she's one of our kids. She can range from anywhere from age 6 to age 10. You know, we've got several age sliders. They tend to stay like at one central age, and then depending on the situation and how safe or unsafe they feel, they may slide up or down in their age. Um, and That's, from what I can tell, it seems to be a fairly common thing. A lot of systems that we've met have age sliders. Um, and the last thing I'm going to throw out before I pause is the phrase, the body. Yes, we are very guilty of referring to the body as the body instead of our body. For most of us, we kind of consider the body its separate thing, and um, we aren't terribly tied too well to it. I mean, um, we kind of see it as, a vehicle, and we have to keep up the maintenance to make sure it keeps running so that we can keep doing things. Um, but it's not, I mean, it's ours, but it's not us. I don't know if that makes sense. Um, but yeah, that seems to be my list. I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting something, but this video is already 22 minutes long, so I'm gonna go for now. And since I'm on a roll, I'll probably start another one in a few minutes. I don't know, but so peace out. It's Dusty, and I'll catch you later. Bye.